What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, today I've got for you another mental story from r/best of Redditor updates, where this man finds out that he is actually a father. There is, of course, an update to this one, which comes 8 months after the original, and I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler here. This is a sad, but also wholesome story. So without further ado, make sure you are subscribed to this channel if you're not already. We're about to hit 600,000 subscribers, so if you could hit the button and help me get there, that would be unreal. Let's get into this one. DNA confirmed that I, a 39-year-old man, have an 18-year-old daughter. What now? And yeah, I feel just as you would imagine. But it gets worse. She lives in the US. I'm in Europe. I don't know how to do this and really need advice. So what happened is that months ago, I got a call from a US number. I didn't answer since I don't know anyone there. Then again, the same day, so I answered, ready to yell at some scammer. The girl on the other side introduces herself and just says that she thinks I might be her father. That was the first thing she said. Hi, my name is Jane, and I think you might be my father. Fake name, of course. Obviously, I told her I don't have any children and that she has the wrong number, but then she drops a name that I haven't heard in, you guessed it, 18 years. Back around that time, I was in the US for a year on a job exchange with our sister company. I met a woman there and we hooked up over maybe a few months. I remember buying condoms after meeting her, but I can't remember if we used them every time. Anyway, I gave her my non-US number, but I never heard from her again. The girl on the phone asked me if my name is OP, and I freak out and almost hang up on her. She tells me more about her mother, and I just sit there like an idiot. She'd found my name and number in her mother's diary, and now, as she turned 18, she wanted to contact me. She lives with her relatives now, since her mother is unable to take care of herself for some reason. I still don't know the details there. She asked me if I'd be willing to do an ancestry DNA test, and even offered to pay for it. She ends by saying I should think about it, and asks if she can call me again. I just say sure, and we hang up. I swear I was about to faint right there and then. The whole conversation lasted only like 5 minutes. I end up taking the test and we talk a few more times. The test took forever, but yesterday she sent me a screenshot of her profile matching 50% to mine. I mean, that's just it, right? We haven't spoken since, just messaged a bit. I lied and I told her I've been busy and we'll talk later, which now makes me feel like a jerk. Up until this point, I've kept it together, holding on to the thought that I'm probably not the dad, but now I can't deny it. It's probably been half my life since I last cried. I haven't told anyone this. I was kind of hoping the DNA test would come back negative, and then I wouldn't have to. How do I even break this to my family? I just know they'll all want her number so they can call her, and then they'd start flying over to see her or bringing her here. They're really pushy like that. My mum is going to freak out. I don't see my family more than a few times a year, but we'll all get together during Easter. Should I do it then with all of them at once, or one at a time? By the way, guys, this was originally posted in January of 2024. I have a picture of Jane, but not much more info than what I've written here. I'm the youngest sibling, and now I suddenly have the oldest of the cousins in the next generation. And I never wanted kids at all. I just don't like them and hate being tied up. I've even had a vasectomy since then. And that's the easy part. The real problem is what to say to Jane. Can some sane person give an example of what to say? I've promised to call her tomorrow. Has anyone discovered that they have an unknown child? If so, what did you do? How did it go? How did you connect? What happened when you met for the first time? What did your family say? I'm a bit embarrassed by this, but is there any risk of me having to pay child support retroactively? I can probably afford it, but I don't really want to. Now, before we get into my thoughts on this original post, first of all, OP has added a little edit which I'll get into. I apologize for the abomination of a text above. I blame the alcohol. Wow, I didn't think it was that bad, but I guess I've edited it a little bit. Some seem to have the impression that I and or my family are wealthy. This is not so. I wrote in a comment that knowing my family, they'd probably rent a private jet and fly her here. That was just a joke, commenting on what they would want to do, not what would they do. I'm not wealthy either. OP says this after a few people referenced that and were like, well, you must have loads of money. Why are you worrying about child support? In the post, I wrote, I can probably afford it, but I don't really want to. And I meant that I'd hate to suddenly have something like 10% of my savings left overnight. Just guessing here, no idea what the actual sum would have been. I'm sure anyone here would consider that factor. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. If you suddenly have to pay 18 years of child support out of nowhere, I mean, I don't know how that works. I'm sure it wouldn't work exactly like that, but if you're at least tied up to that sort of thing, that is a big financial hit, no matter the emotional and, the familial connotations of that too. Anyway, someone said the limit is 3 years back. I didn't know that. I can be a jerk sometimes, but I'm not some monster. The money question was a question, not the question. Okay, well, I guess that clears that up. Yes, I have had my phone number for a long time. I've never had a reason to change it. Then OP says, we had our first video call today, and it was a long conversation. I had a list of things to bring up, mostly from suggestions here, so ever thankful for that. Most of it was quite personal for both of us, so I won't write that here, but it all boils down to that we both want to continue to stay in touch and get to know each other. We also want to meet at some point, even if we don't know when yet. Her family knows of me, and they will join a call in the future so I can speak to them as well. I will hold off on telling my family for a while, but I probably will tell them one at a time. Okay, so there we go. That is it for the original post. And I think first of all, guys, get in the comments down below. Now, I've obviously never been in this situation. To be fair, it's not obvious, but I've never been in this situation. If you have been in this spot, now obviously it's not a very likely or common spot to be in, but I'm sure that a decent number of you watching right now have been in this situation. Get a comment in down below. What happened? What did you do? What advice would you give to OP? It'd be interesting to see what you guys have to say. And I'll go through the comments and give you a heart so that people can see it, other people watching this and listening to this right now. But yeah, as for me personally, I would say just do whatever you feel like doing, OP. It's your life. And, you have a responsibility for your daughter. That is the truth. But she's 18. If you don't want to chat to her family at all, you don't have to. If you don't want to chat to her, as sad as that may be, you don't necessarily have to. I mean, legally, do what you have to do, but you don't have to tell your family. I don't know. I probably would in that situation. I probably want to meet her desperately, but it's up to you. If she really, really wants to meet you, I would say that you definitely should. And it sounds as if we're coming towards that sort of conclusion and agreement here, but yeah, clearly this took you by surprise, a massive shock. And after 18 years of not even thinking about this individual, the girl, Jane's mother, wow, I don't know how I'd react, to be honest. It would be overwhelming, but I would just say do what you want to do. Okay, now let's get into the update. This was posted on August the 1st, 2024. Hello all. A while back, I made a post asking for advice. Back then, I just had it confirmed by DNA that I had a daughter I never knew about. I called her Jane in the other post, so I will here too. Jane is the result of me hooking up with a woman while I was in the US working. Now, it was really interesting to read about others' experiences in the comments and DMs. It's crazy what DNA tests have done in recent times. Some wrote that Jane is probably just a kid looking for her roots, and you were absolutely right. I've been getting a steady stream of DMs since my last post. Most have been nice, just asking for an update. Then there were the absolute nutcases who can't read and told me to drown myself. Hi to you too. Jane and I continued to talk after my last post, mostly about her life, her mother, the family trees, etc. I never thought I'd connect with her like I did. She's a very intelligent and mature young woman. My family knows now, and it went better than expected. Mum and sister still went a bit ape poop, but Dad knocked them out with a large club that he always carries with him. To the nutcases, no, that last bit didn't actually happen. Funny thing, my brother-in-law actually distracted Mum by reminding her that she had made sweaters for all the other grandkids, but now she's way behind on one. That's going to be a big sweater. All of them understandably wanted to call her, but my daughter, yes, it's pretty cool to be able to say that, and I had already planned to have that call the following day. And it went really well. We made introductions, explained everything that had happened, and that we planned for me to meet her by myself before anything else. And guess what? We did meet. I flew over for a 10-day stay since I'm on leave and she's working during the summer. That way we could hang out in the evenings and weekend, and I could go full tourist during the day. It was surreal from the start. I landed at the very same airport I left from almost 2 decades ago, and she was there to meet me together with her aunt. I can't describe with words what it was like to hug her for the first time. I'd seen her many times in video calls, but she was just so beautiful in real life that I started crying. I met so many people in the first couple of days, I can't remember the names of half of them. I gave her the sweater from my mother, a hand-drawn family tree from my niece, and a gift I made myself. but I won't tell what that one was. While I still don't agree with the Georgia weather, I had a blast during the days just walking around town. I went to Jane's workplace almost every day and pretended to be a regular customer. We had lunch and dinners, either alone or with the rest of her mother's side of the family. All of them were so nice and welcoming to me. I visited their house every day, but I chose to stay at a hotel since I didn't want to be a bother or impose myself too hard on Jane's life. Now, obviously Jane and I talked a lot about anything and everything, but mostly about her upbringing and her mother. I mentioned in the previous post that her mother wasn't able to care for Jane. I didn't press that subject much at first, but it was unavoidable after a while. I won't get into all the details, but her mother is sick and has lost some cognitive functions. She recognizes Jane and some family members well enough, others not so much. We went to visit the facility where she lives, and Jane introduced me by name, not as her father. She sadly didn't recognize me, so I stayed in the background for the remainder of our stay. Seeing a woman not much older than myself in such a state was a somber experience. So yeah, that was me rambling a bit about what happened after my last post. There was obviously a lot more, but most of it is deeply personal and emotional, and I won't go through it here. I'm back home and we are keeping communications open. I'm definitely going to fly Jane over here at some point when life allows it, but other than that, we have no specific plans for the future. Hope you all have a nice day. So there we go, that is the end of that story. Wholesome, but also pretty sad, of course, given what's gone on with Jane's mum. To be honest, I actually thought reading through this wrongly that something more selfish had happened with her mother. I don't know. I just instantly thought of like some sort of drug abuse or something like that. Her just putting herself in a state not to be a mother, not illness. That's my fault. I mean, maybe that's just the stories I tend to read on Reddit. But yeah, the sad thing about, I guess, this entire story and Jane's life is that it does sound as if she has an amazing support network. I mean, she was there with her aunt, which is great, but she hasn't had you, of course, OP, for her whole life, and her mother for who knows how long as well. But yeah, apart from that, I think if you can have a solid relationship now going forward, that'd be amazing. I mean, it couldn't have gone much better, right? You two meeting. So that is a positive thing. And it's great to see how OP's mind has sort of changed as he's accepted that he is now a father, even though he didn't know it for 18 years. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Once again, get in the comments down below. Give me your thoughts on this story. If you've ever been in a similar position, who knows? You could be like Jane. You could be like OP. You could be like Jane's aunt, or just know someone that this has happened to. I want to hear your stories and your thoughts on this one as always. And that's going to do it. I will catch you on the next one.